All right. Hello, hello, everyone.
How's everyone doing? Hi, Sarah. It's so good to be here. I love spending time with you and I like making jewelry. So like, why didn't we just do the two together?
That's exactly it, my friend. And it is, I have to say, I went to bed last night and I said this to Rodrigo, like, it is always a good day when I get to start my day hanging out with my bead friends. And Nilay, you are one of the best. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Not only are you such a near and dear friend to me in this industry, but you are so darn talented. And it is just like, whatever. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I don't even know what to say to follow up with that, but I just will say that I think my talent and my excitement is just driven by good product and good people in the industry. And I think I'm still lucky to be working with Jesse James Beads up to this day and to share our bead journey together.
Absolutely. So for everyone that's tuning in, if you don't yet know who we are in the presence of today, this is Nilay Patel. Nilay Patel is an incredible jewelry designer. He is also the owner, proprietor, manufacturer for SilverSilk and more. And on top of that, he has an incredible day job where he is a graphic designer. Nilay, you are such a Renaissance man in terms of artistry and craft. And I mean it when I really do idolize you and everything that you do.
Oh, likewise. I'm just, it's a crazy world, as we all know, and I don't know, just I need all the activities I can get my hands on to be creative and to keep myself motivated, and certainly having, I think, this industry to have my creative outlet, because my day job isn't always as glamorous as this is, and so again, I get to just share that with you guys, and you guys all just keep it real. So I think that's also appreciated. But yeah, I love that we get to do this, and this world has now transformed us into virtually working together.
Yeah.
And our fun and activity is then shared with everybody else on Facebook and the online platform. So it's a fun time.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that about how we're virtually working together because the pandemic has really has driven us away from each other in so many ways in terms of like friends and family that we're accustomed to seeing. But with the industry, I feel like I've gotten to hang out with my industry friends more because we're doing these virtual hangouts, which has been
Yeah, I agree. For sure, for sure. I would say it's the same for me too. I think for me, the industry has always been sort of a farther reach just because my lack of traveling, I do have a day job, so I do pay attention to that, and that's sort of my sole focus and priority. But I think this format has helped to kind of balance both out, and now I'm able to reach companies and people that I would never have been able to just from not traveling, but traveling virtually to everyone's homes.
Yes, yeah, that's really a great way of putting it. Of being able to virtually transport ourselves right there into your living room or your meeting studio, wherever you may be. So let's just take a minute here, check in with people that are joining in with us today. Guys, if you are joining in and you want to give this video a share to your friends, that would be fantastic. We've got Karen Yates. Hi there. Oh, she said she didn't receive a notification. Facebook is weird sometimes, right? Lisa Dunbar Norman, who's coming in from New Orleans. Looking forward to be making some more story today. Hey, girl.
Yes.
We've got Anita, Diana, Sylvia. Hi, Maggie, Mimi Pitts, Linda Frank. Hello, Trisha, Lucy Roberts. Guys, thanks so much for coming and joining us at this East Coast lunch hour with me.
I recognize a lot of those names. They're my fan favorites as well, and they've always been so supportive, and I enjoy seeing their name chime in every time.
Yeah, it's so nice, guys. When we are doing these Facebook Lives, it is so nice. It's nice to see that we have a nice audience, but it's always so beautiful to see your name pop in and just say hello or say where you're from and introduce yourself to the community, or just, if you say hi often, just to check in with us. We love it. I know I'm speaking for both of us when I say we love that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So
Nilay, let's start with this. So Nilay is the owner and manufacturer of SilverSilk. We've talked about SilverSilk before in the channel, but before we dive into this project, tell us what SilverSilk is, and if you could tell me and our crew here what really gets you going, like why you really love SilverSilk.
Oh boy. So SilverSilk is a knitted wire jewelry chain. It's machine knit, and it can be used to string beads like with large holes right over the chain. You can sew through it. You can chop it up into little pieces and string it that way. It's because of the machine knit technology and the material that it's made with, it cuts easily without fraying. And so there's a lot of different types of techniques that you can do with it. Today, I'm going to show you how to braid with it, in fact, with a Kumihimo board. And so that's just one of the many different ways that you can use it. What inspires me through my avenue with SilverSilk, I think there's just so much with it that I never thought I would receive. There's that satisfaction of, I think, creating my own product at the end of the day, and overseeing the production value, the quality, the amount of variation I can do with the knitting machine, the technology and innovation that's behind it. So that all is, I think, one aspect of it that I just love tinkering on the machine at the end of the day. I think the community and outreach and connecting with people is another aspect that I really enjoy. I love working with my industry friends such as you and my girls from Softflex Wire and many other companies, Tierra Cast, Vintage. There's just, everyone plays so well with SilverSilk because it's such a unique product, a unique type of jewelry chain that's really not out there. So I like exploring those different possibilities with the different types of materials that I can combine with it. What else? I get to fulfill the product at the end of the day. So everything that runs through the e-commerce, through fulfillment, shipping, all runs through me, which is quite tedious, but it is when I get to put my little sticker that says knitted by Nilay with love on each and every package, there's something satisfying about that as well. So there's just a lot of heart that comes with it that I just don't receive from my day job, and so that really fulfills and it fills my soul cup, as I say.
I love that.
With all the good vibes.
I really love that, and I agree with that with Jesse James, because we manufacture our beads, and there's a lot of nuts and bolts that go into creating the beaded designs and the customers that we sell to. But at the end of the day, I have found so much fulfillment with doing our B2C, our business to consumer sales, to our fans that we are interacting with here on Facebook, because we see you here on the live streams, we see your comments, and then when we receive an order from you, it's just like, oh my gosh, my friend, or you package their order up, and it really is truly packaged with love. When you purchase something from a small business, there truly is, like the memes that go around in the internet say, there truly is a person back there doing a little happy dance because you bought something from us and we're able to share what we love with you. So I feel you, Nilay, 100%.
One other thing I think that's just a recent development is I get to use my powers for good. And so I'm actually partnering up with a project that I'm doing, a live class with Katie Hacker is for Beads of Courage. So we're going to be kitting 50 kits for just SilverSilk, but there's 2 other companies I think that are participating in this. Don't have all the details quite yet, but that is a recent development that's being put together very quickly. But Beads of Courage, like if you guys don't know about it, please go look them up, and please donate anything that you can to help this organization. They help kids with terminal illnesses that for their families, and it's such a near and dear cause, I think, just for the fact that it does hit home with the word family in it, for me at least. And so the people that run it are pure of heart as well, and I just want to do everything I can for them. So this is, again, a new thing that I'm doing because I have it now in my bandwidth to be able to contribute to that.
That is excellent, Nilay. Beads of Courage is so amazing. We talk about Beads of Courage a lot here at Jesse James Beads. And I am so thrilled for you and really excited for Beads of Courage that SilverSilk is on board. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay. So, okay, what are we doing today, Nilay? You gave me a brief rundown before we got started. Tell our crowd what we're going to be working on, and then let's put the camera and do it to it.
Perfect. Well, I picked out some colors from some strands that you sent me. So I'm going to be using the Haunted Halloween mix, but in a very different way. The colors lend themselves well to Mardi Gras. And I think this is one of the cool things about Jesse James Beads is you guys have like a basic theme for each of your strands, but really, if you look at the colors very closely, they can translate into very many different holidays or different occasions, I think, just depending on the colors. So I'm going to be combining that with some Tensha beads that you also sent me over, some big pearls, and we're going to be doing some big chain braiding with some SilverSilk. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip my camera around and just show you what I got on the table.
Nilay, take it away.
Awesome, awesome.
Spotlight you right now. Give Nilay the full visual here, or give us the full visual of Nilay.
Yeah, can you guys see everything okay from your end? I'm gonna make sure that it comes live on the feed here. Let's do this. Perfect. Okay, so these are the beads that I was talking about. Now, to save us some time, I went ahead and applied a simple loop to everything. And there's plenty of tutorials that I think you guys have done, at least with Sarah Ellis and with some of the other designers, on how to make simple loops on either end of the beads. And so I'm not going to end up covering that for today's tutorial, but this is very easy to do, I promise, for those of you who are new to beading in general. Highly encourage you guys to check out the other Jesse James Beads tutorials to learn how to make those and to manufacture them across the beads.
So a really great tutorial for simple loop, actually. So if we have time at the end of the video, just show us one, because he's got this technique called breaking the neck. And if you haven't done it before, I think it's the best one out there, Nilay, personally. I got
a little piece of wires out here, so I'll save that.
Okay.
Just in case we get to it. Yeah, for sure. What else? Oh, these are those holographic Tinsha beads that I was talking about. Now, these are beautiful.
These, I love these, my favorite.
They're glowy and perfect for Mardi Gras. Let's see. So to make the simple loops, though, let me talk about the wire. I think you might have another brand on Jesse James Beads. I'm not 100% sure. I'm so sorry, Sarah, but I think Artistic Wire for sure has 20 gauge wire.
Sure.
But really, craft wire is what you're looking for, and so and in 20 gauge as well. And then I don't think I'm going to be using 26. I'm not even going to show that. And then you're going to need some SilverSilk. So here I've got Fern, otherwise known as Olive, I think, on the Jesse James Beads website.
Yes.
So you're going to need
Danielle is on the comments. We need to make that change on the back end, Miss D.
Yeah, that way our products sync together and people will know exactly what to look for too. So this one is Purple Passion or Amethyst. I guess it's interchangeable names there as well. So I have 1 unit of that. This already matches so well with the Halloween mix, which otherwise I'm rebranding as Mardi Gras now. And then I've got 2 things of Arctic White. I think this is going to be a great offset for adding in another color that's not silver. And I think the silver would be a little bit much against all of this gold and copper that's happening. So the Arctic White is going to be a really beautiful contrast, a lighter color to the grouping here. And so you'll need 2 units of that. So a total of 4 chains is what's going to get us started. So I'm going to set these beads aside for now, and we're going to get back to that here in a little bit. And I'm going to show you how to put that chain together. But in the meantime, let's talk about this Kumihimo board. And Sarah, I believe you got some for Jesse James Beads now, right?
We do. They should be loading up to the site any minute now. Actually, we just got them in.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so whenever they are on the site, this is what you'll need to look for. I am just gonna lay my chains out here so I can get it organized and show you guys what I'm doing. But I'm lining up all of my chains, and my chains come in a 3-foot length. So that's gonna be if you think about it, a 36-inch necklace by itself. And we're adding beads to it on top of that. So it's gonna be a very long necklace. But this is one of those necklaces that I think will be great for a technique that I like to call color blocking. But in this case, because we're mixing up all our colors together, we're gonna be doing more of like a material blocking. Just gonna coin it a different term now. So once you have your Kumihimo board out, and let me cover what this is real quick. This is typically used for creating a braided cord. And the cord is as thick as many as strands that you have braiding with it. Typically, the types of cords that are braided together are like, I don't know, like maybe 1 millimeter silk, or any sort of yarns, or smaller nylon cords. In this case, since we're using a thicker chain to braid with, we're not going to be inserting it into these little slits that you normally would to follow a certain type of braid pattern. Instead, we're going to be focusing on the bigger dots here. This is just going to keep our braiding organized, and just a format, because it's got this central hole here for our chain to drop through, and just to kind of keep it out of the way as we're braiding along. But to set up our braid, it's very easy. In fact, here's where you kind of need your 20 gauge wire. So I'm just going to cut about 6 inches. You don't need actually too much to get started, about 6 or 7. And then this is really one of my favorite features of SilverSilk, is because you can just sew right through the chain there, which is, again, a very fine knit with very thin wire. And so I'm just going to string it right through, and I'm going to alternate my colors. So I'm going to do Arctic white, a fern, and I'm going 2 beads below from where the chain stops. In this case, if the chain is sort of popping out, I just kind of push it back in, and then I can get it back kind of aligned where I need it to be. And then I'm going to do, whoops, another Arctic white. And I'm going to end with my purple here. Okay, so I strung it right through, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bunch it up together so it stacks on top of each other. Okay, just like that. So you can see that all 4 are now bunched together in this lovely little package. So then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. By the way, I didn't even cover tools. So you'll need a pair of chain nose pliers and a pair of round nose pliers. These will be used to make your simple loops, which I've already done. And then you'll just need a basic pair of cutters, which is what I have here. You can have a pair of nylon gel pliers to straighten out your wire. My wire was pretty straight whenever I cut it from the spool, so I didn't run my nylon gel pliers through it. But it's always a good idea to have that in your tool kit, just in case if you need it later down the road. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just twist these together and wrap my wire around it as tightly as I can. And this sets up a secure end for all of my wires to be braided. And it's got my little tail wire here that sticks out through my little bunch there, as you can see. And this will be the part that fits up through the cone later on. So you can see that that just tucks in nice and neatly. I guess we could go ahead and attach it together while we're here. I'm actually going to just string one of these cage beads on.
Ooh, how
to
cute.
kind of give it a nice finish. Let's see if I can do this. I need to kind of work around that that bead.
I'm so excited about these bead cones that we brought on too. We have never stocked bead cones before. And then one of our community members, Brittany Chavers, said, hey, we really need cones for a specific project. Jesse James Beads some cones. So we got in these really great styles, and I'm super excited that you're using copper. Such a cool, cool metal color.
For sure. I think it's about as good as it's gonna get through here. I think that diamond, you know what? I might use that for, I'm gonna use that for the inside, for one of my connections now that I think about it, because I think that's gonna lend well for that. So let me switch out beads real quick because that's gonna make it look better. Oops. Yeah, I'm surprised on that note that you haven't had cones stocked
Same.
up to this point, but it's better
We'll
late than
put them
never.
in our bead strands and we'll put them in bead mixes, but we've never sold them individually. And sometimes you just need them. You need some bead cones for your stash. So.
For sure, for sure. Especially if you're using SilverSilk and if you're going to try this technique, I think having the cones at this point in time was very smart.
Totes.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick little wire wrap loop here. So I just kind of used my round nose pliers as a mandrel to fold my wire around. And then, as Sarah mentioned, I did break the neck, but I think I'll have time at the end to go over how a simple loop is made.
Sure, that would be great.
But I'm just going to go and wrap this all around. And this will get me nice and set up for connecting my chain here shortly. Cool. Okay. So now I am ready to braid. And this is really where the bulk of my instruction is going to be, because it's going to be so important to keep all of your SilverSilk strands organized. So I highly recommend, if you do try this, to have different colors, not only because it's just fun to use, but because of the ease it will be to braid these, just so you know kind of where each color is folding where. So I think what I'll do is I'll sort of pair this. I'm going to put my green to my white and my purple to my white. So that way we kind of know where each strand is living here. I'm going to spread these out on my table. Just get it nice and organized again. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to fold one over the other to get myself started. So I'll take my purple, which happens to sit on the left side, and it's going to work now just on the left side. I'm going to put it down there, and I'm going to take my white and fold it up. Okay, it might look like nothing happened, but trust me, it did. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my white that's on my left-hand side, and I'm going to take it up above my green and take my green to the other side. So now all I have to do is repeat that same step back, but I'm going to take the purple, making sure that it remains on the left side. Okay, always keep this organized, and take my white back around. We said that the green was going to be on the bottom side, so we're going to take that back toward the bottom, take the white over to the other side. That's basically it. But again, just take it slow and just make sure you know where each strand is going. The purple is going to go on the left side because that's what we've designated it to go. And then you just fold your white over. And then the green is going to go on the bottom toward the right, or to the left, excuse me, and then the white will go on the right side. And there's really, that's about as hard as it gets. I think between doing that and making that cone from earlier is really as difficult as this project will get. It's so satisfying and fun and easy once you just get rolling on it.
So you really just have to remember, because the green and your first white there are going from side to side, that you always keep the green on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you flip the purple from the top of the board. You always keep it on the left.
And you can do it by the dots too. So for example, let me just finish up this wrap. So for example, if you keep your green on the bottom side of the dot that's on the right, it'll be easier to remember of like, hey, this belongs on the bottom side, so let me make sure I just keep it there. And I think that's where the dots can kind of come in handy. If the KUMIHIMO boards that you guys have as well will have dots on it. But I think that's just the easiest way to remember. So it looks like this was on, the left-hand side. So I'll just now flip it back up to the left, take this back down. So let me braid a few more of these and then I'll show you what the chain looks like. And it's one of those scenarios too that if it's a tight braid, it's going to take up a little bit more SilverSilk to do it, to get a finished piece. Whereas if you've got a looser sort of braid, and you can always tighten it up at the end too if it's a little too loose, it'll, you know, kind of relax more and just kind of look like it's effortlessly braided together. Bottom, there we go. But you could see that this is all sort of coming together now in the most, you know, just easy way. So if you wanted to have more color on this, you just take away one of the whites and you'd put, you know, a green or a purple or a red instead. I think in the color scheme that I'm using today, it's got mostly purples and greens. Oh, yes. So I could have went that direction. But yeah, that's how to do a braid. I'm trying to also see, is there any questions so far from our
Yeah, Brenda has a question. This is a good one. So she was asking, is this going to be a loose braid or is this going to be a tighter braid that uses more SilverSilk?
The one that I'm going to be doing is going to be more of a loose braid. The tighter the braid, the more SilverSilk it will take, because you're trying to squish in a lot of SilverSilk in a short amount of space and not letting it relax. So the bowing of the SilverSilk makes it take up more space. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. It's the best way that I think I can put it. But a looser braid, just, you know, even if you're braiding hair, if you've got a looser braid, it's just going to take up less hair just because it's able to relax a little bit more.
Nilay, you have made me a couple braided SilverSilk pieces. And let me tell you, this is just like to receive a gift that is just this braided SilverSilk, maybe with like a little Jesse James beads dangle on the end. I'm wearing one that you made me right now, actually, Nilay. And it's just like such a beautiful gift to give somebody. Or if you are in the make and sell business, perhaps you have an Etsy or do craft shows when, you know, it's available, either post-pandemic or socially distanced craft fairs. This is a really great, it's a really great jewelry piece to make and sell or make and give, because it just has, it's so elegant and simple.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite things are those things as well, just elegant and simple. And you know, I can't even remember how I thought of this project. I think one of the girls over at Softflex just sent this board to me thinking that I would use it for something down the road, because they always do that. They always send me stuff that I'm like, why do I have this again? And then later I'm like, I have this because of this. So whenever this idea sort of just popped into my head of like, oh, maybe I should try Kumihimo braiding. This is just the beginner level of it, right? But like, I've had a customer who took, oh gosh, I think she took 8 strands of SilverSilk. Now, mind you, this was a very expensive piece for her, but the result at the end was just unbelievable. It was so lavish looking and so beautiful. It's so intricate. It was insane. I mean, such talent required to do that.
With 8 pieces?
With 8 pieces. Can you believe that? It was a flat I think she did a flat Kumihimo braid with 8 pieces. It was quite extravagant. It looked like something that, I don't know, Queen of England or someone would wear. It was very extravagant.
I would love just a really thick 8-piece Kumihimo braid, like just even just a thicker same style that you're doing right now, but just thicker, you know, like real chunky, big statement rope type necklace. I
have got something in the works for that. In fact, it's not going to be using the Kumihimo board necessarily, but I did come up with a new idea. This will be in my future book that's coming out in March. I decided to delay the date a little bit just based on the things that I've got going on. Whoops, I messed up here. It should be on the bottom side. And it's got a big, thick braided chain in there that I'm really excited about.
Nilay, tell us a little bit more as you're doing this braid. Nilay
Mhm.
just mentioned that he's got a book coming out, and I did know about this one. He had mentioned it, I think just before the end of 2020. So I was talking to Jen Van Ben Schotten the other day. She was
Mhm.
the old editor for Beading Daily when Beading Daily was part of Interweave, and your
Mhm.
name came up, Nilay, and we were both, just saying how much we really love you as a designer and how cool SilverSilk is. And she loves publishing. Obviously, she's in the publishing industry. And I had mentioned to her that you had a book coming out and how I didn't know too much about it, but was really just excited to be getting some print media, like hold in your hand, tangible print media.
Mhm.
One of my favorite designers, you. So what's going on with this book? Tell us.
Yeah, I haven't put out too much PR for it anyways, but and not on purpose necessarily. It's just because my head's in all over the place.
Yeah,
But
so busy.
I know, and I keep adding to the list. So what's going on is that there is, I think, not enough content that is, to your point, print related materials, something that is accessible, tangible, collectible even. And what I wanted to do was to create a 10-piece set essentially that I could use for teaching purposes and to give customers access to some really good designs. If they're newbies to what SilverSilk is, this book will be a perfect addition to learning in their library of what this material can do at its best. Um, Specifically though, more so than just a book, I'm actually going to sell it as a kit instead. So this will be part of a bigger packaging. And my packaging will have the book, which will comprise of 10 pieces, and then it'll have 5 kits inside of it. Each of them will be directly coordinated to the projects that are going to be in the book. So you're essentially getting like a bundled deal. And you get all the knitted wire, all of the bindings and stuff that you'll need to make those projects. And so it'll be very, very specific to each project rather than just putting some SilverSilk in there and calling it good. I wanted to be a really tailored experience for my customer. But it's going to be also a triptych of things because SilverSilk isn't just a single dimensional piece of chain. I also have a hollow mesh that's a wider mesh that you could fill beads with it. And then I'm going to start to produce flat mesh in both plain colors as well as pearlesque, which has that rainbow tinsel in it. So that'll be the third book, each of those will have 10 projects of their own product line. That way, there'll be lots of content out there on knowing what to do with SilverSilk. And I think it's just geared to, again, help people understand the full breadth of work that is involved, or not involved, I guess, the full breadth of work that you can do with SilverSilk.
I have a dream. I have a beaded dream of producing a fantastic library of literature, of beading
Yeah,
techniques and just fashion inspiration, and being able to offer that to Jesse James Beads customers. So when those books are in print, you let me know, my friend. If you're selling them wholesale, that is something that we will absolutely want to.
absolutely. Definitely touch base on that for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's really all it started as, Sarah. Is just I had a dream as well, and realized that
A silky
I
dream.
have all the. That's how it always starts, isn't it? all the good things just start that way. Yeah, I wanted to create more content, and this was my version of that, and to have something tangible. To your point, because print it's a dying media, and it's been dying for a long time, and trying to figure out ways to fulfill the virtual world is one thing with lots of tutorials, but I still I'm a nerd. I still collect stuff at the end of the day. And
I just think with
yeah,
everything with quarantine and us being forced to be so behind these computer screens, I think print has a chance to come back. I don't know. I
I
just like,
hope so.
how do you guys feel about this? Like, everyone that's watching, what are your thoughts on like being able to hold something, like being able to read a paperback book or a hardcover book rather than, you know, downloading it onto your Nook or your e-reader? I personally think that there's something so special to being able to actually hold something in your hands. And I think with us being having to been behind screens for so much this entire year, that I think we're making a comeback. I think you are coming out with these books, you're publishing these books at the exact right time, Nilay. That's what my crystal ball says.
I hope so. I hope so. But either way, I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it's just something that I wanted to do. And again, I got the tools to do it. You know, I'm using my graphic design secret powers to make it happen and some Kindle publishing. So you just do what you have to do to make your dream come alive.
Do what you have to do to make your dream come alive. Do you hear that, everybody? That's some wisdom. What you gotta do to make your dream come alive.
Exactly. Like it's a good casual conversation that I just like to have. Just make your dream come alive.
So Nilay, we're getting to the end of our rope, literally and figuratively.
I love that.
That
was funny. No, that's just perfect. What I'm doing now is just kind of sizing everything up. It looks like there was a little bit of extra silver silk on this side, so I'm just gonna kind of take this around and get all this stuff lined up. I'm gonna have to trim a little bit of this off, but that is perfectly okay. Let me grab some more wire. Again, I don't need very much, probably just gonna pick up about 6 inches. And I'm just gonna start to go 2 of the beads below the chain and back through the silver silk of wherever it seems to hit. So it looks like it's gonna be perfectly aligned right there. All this other stuff can get trimmed off. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, right here and right here. And same process from earlier. I'm actually just going to stack these together on top by bringing my wire back around. And then I'm going to flip my middle wire here up first. Let me come back around there.
That is the wire that you just strung through all that's the wire that you just strung through all the silver silk, the one that you stick straight up, correct?
Yes, yeah. And it just helps to kind of anchor everything and give that little tail wire some extra purpose because it's going to be used to, you know, string through the cone here in a second. And then you basically just work this wire around. I just go a couple times. It was a relatively short piece of wire, so I think I can use all of it up, in fact, this time. There we go. And I mean, because it is a 20 gauge wire, it's a little bit thicker than your, you know, standard 22 gauge, I think. I guess there really is no standard for wire, but the 20 gauge, regardless, is thick enough to hold its own weight. So that'll be perfect for pushing up through the cone. I think what I'm going to do is actually squeeze this in just a little bit more because I want it to really go into that cone. Let's see if that'll work. Yeah, now we're talking. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and string that extra green bead on. You can leave this as its own chain because it's so beautiful, but we're just going to make it extra super dazzly and sparkly with the other beads that I have here.
Exciting.
I think what's going to be cool is that this extra chain that we're going to add on, you can wear this necklace without a clasp, which is kind of what I intended it to be. And you can throw it over your head. You can wrap it around your head a couple times, like a scarf, necklace type of deal. And I like that versatility.
Yeah, I love grab and go jewelry. Give me a
Grab
bracelet
and
or
go
a necklace.
jewelry. Yes, I love
Yeah,
that.
running out the house, grab your stack of stretch bracelets, throw your necklace over your head, earrings go on in the car, and off you go.
That's perfect. That's all we need. That is all we need. Okay, so there's the braided chain, just so you guys can get a full look at it.
Lovely.
And okay, so let me go and show you just before I get into connecting these, what that simple loop looks like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, guys, watch and
what,
learn on this one. This is a great, great technique.
yeah, thank you. What I do is I have my pliers. So the plier is tapered. So you have a very narrow tip on the end of your plier, and you have a very wider, fatter tip on the other end. So just depending on where you like your simple loops to be, I like mine to be on the daintier side, something that's a little bit smaller and more compact. I like to stay sort of in that upper third area of my plier. You can mark it with a little Sharpie if you want to. That way you have concise and precise loops each and every time. I kind of just know based on this little like mark that I accidentally made one time by nicking my pliers. And that's kind of where I land at every time. So you want to have your wire, your piece of wire flush with the top of your plier. If you have a little bit sticking out and you could feel it on your finger, then that's a no-no. So just kind of scale it back and push it back into the plier, and then you're ready to go. I have my fingers and my hand like pretty close to the working of, to where I'm working. So I want it to be fairly close to the head of my plier. And I just rest my thumb on the flat part of my plier as well. And I rest my other thumb right over that piece of wire so that whenever I'm turning, I can use my thumb to press just a little bit and to really use this as a mandrel, just to make sure that all of my loops are nice and round. And I kind of just go where my wrist wants to stop. If I try and overcompensate, I already know that my loop is going to look wonky. So where it feels comfortable, just stop and reset. And you could see that my wire went halfway over, kind of, if it's hopefully not too fuzzy. And where I want to do now is just to continue to where that little end of my wire touches the longer part of my wire, so that you've got this really great P-shaped loop. Okay, so there's P. Once I've done that, I can switch my pliers to these flat nose pliers. And what I want to do is grasp the section that where just the inside of where my tip of my wire hits that longer part. So here's my positioning. I apologize because it is fuzzy, but I think if I get it further away, you can see it.
Yep, perfect.
Cool. And then I just break the neck, as you mentioned earlier. Is that violent? Absolutely. And I do not support breaking of necks unless it is in jewelry making. And you just basically what that means is you just twist back on the head of where that P-shaped loop was, and that centralizes your loop. So if you can kind of dissect this in half, you can see that the stick part of my my simple loop is the middle point of where my loop is. So, and that basically concludes a really good looking simple loop.
Nilay, I just made that along with you, and my simple look is on point. Thank you. Yes.
Absolutely.
Great. Continue. That was fantastic. Thank you, Nilay, for showing that to us.
You are so welcome. I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, my way of teaching is different from everybody else's, and we all do it for the same purpose. It's just people understand some things easier than others. But again, our goals are all the same. We want them just to know how to do it. And so that's just my technique. I never said it was perfect or right. It works for me personally. And hopefully it'll help you in your jewelry making journey as well. So now what we can do is connect our chain together. And for this, I am just going to do what Jesse James Beads makes easy to do, and that is mixing up my beads. So I am just going to lay out a chain and then just connect all my simple loops together, and I'll have this really great, like easy, effortless beaded chain. One thing I do want to mention is the positioning of my loops. So when I hold this flat, you can see that this isn't exactly facing forward. So you can either do that, you can face it forward and just, have some simple loops that connect with each other, or you can do what is called the Rosary Style, where you have one of the loops that's perpendicular and flat against the other one. There's really no right or wrong to this particular technique of how I'm connecting this chain together. But I would say pick one and stick with it. So in this case, I picked that particular Rosary Style. So let me go ahead and just do that to all of them.
I never realized that that was Rosary Style, one facing one way and the other perpendicular to it.
Yeah, I kind of have seen them in that style and format for rosaries specifically, at least the ones that I've seen. But there is the reason for that is that because some items have a flat surface, some beads, depending on the way that your simple loops face makes a difference in how the jewelry lays. And because we're using round beads this time, it's not a huge difference, but it also helps to know how your loops are facing, so that whenever you do storage away your jewelry piece, it's not going to get tangled up together. Let's see.
Looks so cute, Nilay.
I'm loving this. I just love that I can pick up my beads and then just, don't have to worry about matching them necessarily. They're already all coordinated, and I can just, focus on the technique and making a really good looking chain here.
Yeah, and the Tensha beads go so nicely. You're right about being able to take different holidays and zhuzh them over to another one, because I love purple and green for Halloween. It's just so witchy and
Mm-hmm.
but then carries, so if you made yourself a witchy woman necklace for Halloween, you can carry that right over in February. Get your Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday beads out.
Yes, and you should never stop being a witch. I'm just kidding.
Mr. I don't know if that's a compliment or how
Anyone can take it for what it is. I never do, so why should everybody else?
See how
that's so funny. So this should be wrapped up here momentarily. And that's again, I just did this to save time because I wanted to focus mostly on braiding that silver silk and showing and getting folks comfortable with that technique. But I do have a neck form here that I could show you how this can be worn. So that's another thing that I want to do.
Yeah, this is it's then I was saying this the other day, that great jewelry making, that great design doesn't need to be hard. There's amazing technical, spend several days or a week on a jewelry project designs out there, especially when it comes down to seed beading and weaving. But when you're coming up with like a fashionable, trendy, wearable, sellable, giftable design, it doesn't need to be excruciatingly hard. You can get some great material. You were saying in the beginning, SilverSilk is a great material to work with, for instance. And you work with these really cool components, and then poof, you have an excellent design.
Yeah, I think the materials have a lot to do with how easy you can make it for yourself. And, again, you guys just do such an easy job to make jewelry making fun, accessible. And I apologize if my audio is a little different. My headphones just died. I need to get a new pair of some AirPods because mine are like years old now and they've seen better days. Yet I keep using them.
Many Zoom conference and Facebook Live this year, I'm sure. Deborah says this is a gorgeous and fun piece, Nilay. I couldn't agree with you more, Deborah.
Aw, thank you, Sarah. I wonder how many of our friends here are beading at home with us.
I don't know, guys, who is beading at home? Did anyone else just try that simple loop technique? Who's sitting in front of their beads with their tools in front of them right now?
They're probably out shopping, actually. I know I would be.
Well, I'm not mad about that if that's the case, but I'm sitting here, me and Nilay were just talking, got a new office set up, and it's so nice to have a creative space, like a space in the home that's designated to productivity
Mhm.
and creativity. Feels so good.
Absolutely.
Oh, we've
So
got
I've got almost all of my beads here. I think I'm just missing a few more.
we got 3 people that say that they're making. We got Nori Morris, Trisha Gizen. Oh, that's 4. Susie Seguin. Sorry, Susie, if I butchered your last name. Paula says that she's making some stuff at home. Karen Yates Waters is knotting a moonstone and kyanite necklace. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sherry Ann is making rosaries for an order. I bet Sherry, I bet you knew all about the perpendicular loop.
Yes, for sure.
That's a fun glass bead. I like that one you just picked up.
Right. I think just a couple more beads here, in fact. I like literally wanted to use all of them up because I can't just choose some over the other, you know? Like, just gotta have all the beads.
Never a bad problem to have. Oh gosh, Nilay, that Tensha bead is so cool. I'm so glad you decided to go with that one for this design.
Well, yeah, I thought it was like a strategic thing. I was like, she must be like thinking on the same wavelength as me, just with like this color.
It totally was. It was very strategic, but I'm glad that you were picking up what I was putting down with those beads and the Mardi Gras colors here. It really goes so much.
All right,
Oh, we've got Sam Siegel from Sam's Bead Shop here. Hey, Sam. So nice to
Hi,
have you.
Sam. Oh my gosh, he was up like late last. Why aren't you go? You need to go to bed. Emailing me at like 1 a.m. We're trying to coordinate for a show date because he's such a cool guy and has such a great energy and such great products and just is a really cool dude. So like, we're just talking to like get a show date together.
That is awesome.
He's a hard worker, I'll tell you that.
I believe it.
He is 1000% in it for his customers. We'll say that.
Yeah, I ran into Sam's Bead Shop randomly. Facebook suggested it to me, and Sam has a really fantastic group. Feel free to drop a link so that our fans watching can come over and check out the group and the community that's over there. But yeah, I found that one, and he's got a great designer that works for him as well. And then it's just I don't know. It's been like I've seen a lot of let's see, Daisy's here. Sorry, here we go. Hey, yeah, I've been seeing a lot from Sam's Bead Shop, and he's got some really cool check beads and gemstones. So that is a great member of our industry to follow if you are not yet a fan here on Facebook.
For sure. I'm like, I feel like an old man because my ear pods are not in. I'm having like a hard time hearing.
Never, Nilay. Let's see this one.
Here is what I came up. I'm gonna wear it for you. I'm not only gonna I'm not gonna throw it on the neck for him. Like, we're gonna take this to the next level.
All right.
All right, so you could do it like this.
Oh my gosh. Guys, how cool is this? Because like Mardi Gras beads are long and lustrous like that. Ooh.
You can kind of just throw it on like this.
It looks really good.
You can, put all the beads up front, or you could wear it behind you. Like, look at that. It looks like I'm wearing 2 different designs together that coordinate, but it's all one necklace. Or a headband.
So versatile.
So,
I was wondering where the beads were going to go when you were doing the very, very long Kumihimo braid. That took up 4 packs of the 3-foot SilverSilk, right?
Yes, yeah, you need 4 of, because they're in 3-foot lengths.
Mhm.
And so what I did was just, I think that makes it a great length to work with because you can choose your own color journey, your own colorway that way. I also have in my personal store the 6-foot, but I would recommend probably just getting the 3 to start with
Sure.
over at Jesse James Beads, and to get different colored ones just so it's easier to know what you're doing to braid.
Yeah, that's a really great tip. I love the way that it looks with the white because it really, has such like a color blocked look dancing
Yeah,
through that braid. Yeah,
I'll
so
just wear it.
one more time if we
Yeah.
could. But to learn the Kumihimo to get 4 different colors would make it easy so that, you make sure that the braids are going in the same direction every time. I love this piece. I love how it came together. And man, oh man, don't you love just a piece of jewelry that's versatile? Like earrings are always going to be earrings. The bracelet is, you attach it to your wrist. But when you have a necklace that you can wear either long or doubled up like that, it gives it such a different look.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Nilay, it is always such a pleasure to have your designing panache on this channel. Are you so great with technique? Oh wait, can I show off my simple loop real quick?
I'm so excited that you did that. Oh my gosh, that's like perfect.
Thank you.
You broke the neck and everything. I love it.
I broke the neck and everything, and I swear I'm not a violent person. But what I'm saying is, Nilay, your technique and your know-how, the way that you educate is so suave, and it just makes so much sense. And then on top of that, you have such an incredible eye for design and fashion and trends. So this has just been such a treat to have you here today.
I can't follow up on that, and you just shower me with so many compliments all the time.
You with the truth, please.
I love your energy, your vibe, the community that you've brought together. You're just so much fun to work with, and for all the years that I've known you, we just do better and better things together. So yeah, you get all my hearts.
All of them right here. And I'm so excited for you and your journey, Nilay. We've, like Nilay said, we have been friends for probably the better of 5 years now. And, Nilay was a designer for Jesse James Beads for 2 years. He started manufacturing SilverSilk all on his own, just right at the end of that, I believe. And just to see where you have taken SilverSilk and your own personal brand, Nilay Patel, from there has been just awesome. And I'm so thrilled every time we get to come together on a stage like this and do what we do and see what you do amongst our entire group here.
Yes, every one of those sentiments I feel, for sure.
Well, Nilay, tell our fans where they can find you next, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Let us know what is upcoming on the regular for Nilay.
Well, for the regular, I'm back on Tuesday tutorials on my Facebook page for the SilverSilk and More Business Facebook page. So I've got hollow mesh on the rise here, and so I developed and innovated that product late last year. I didn't put too much content around for it, but this year you're going to see a ton more tutorials on hollow mesh coming up. So we just did one last week, or this previous, wait, what is today? This previous Tuesday. It happens. I work at home all the time now, so all my days are together.
My friend.
Yeah, and then I've got a project for the Great Bead Extravaganza coming up, and the kits and details are available on silversilkonline.com for that. If you're wanting more information on what that is and how to participate, you can go to the SilverSilk and More website. And then what else have I got? I've got my project with Beats of Courage coming up here shortly soon as well. So I'll have more information on that. But otherwise, I'm doing more stuff on Instagram and YouTube. So you can find me there all the time. Cool. And certainly on Facebook, we've got a group called the SilverSilk Silkies, as named by Joan and Ginger, I think, endearingly. And it's grown so substantially for when we just started it, like maybe a year or two ago. So that's been amazing. And I share all my close news there as well. And otherwise, I'm just on the back end answering emails, orders at silversilkonline.com, and filling orders.
That's awesome. Well, guys, make sure you follow Nilay on Instagram and YouTube. You can also find Jessie James Beads there. We are upping our Instagram game because it's just so fun, and also bringing videos to you on YouTube. All of the products from this project, as well as a replay of this project, will be in your inbox if you subscribe to Jessie James Beads email. You'll be receiving that in your inbox this evening around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Kumihimo board, the Kumihimo board, all of the SilverSilk, the end caps, the wire, the beads, all of that can be found at Jessie James Beads. Thank you, my friend, for coming on and sharing this with us. It is always such a delight to have you here.
Thank you. I am looking forward to our next video at some point, and I'm sure we'll come up with a really kick-ass project and we'll just hang out again.
You betcha. You betcha. Thank you so much. Guys, you can catch the Jessie James Beads Celebrity Spotlight typically every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we have the pleasure of learning how to use the jewel loom from the weaving goddess herself, Juliana Avalar. So set your clock for that one. On Monday, we will have Jessie James Beads Rising Star premiere with Brittany Chavers, who will be also using the bead cones, and she has a special project worked up for us for that one, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Till then, I wish you a very, very wonderful Thursday and a great weekend. Take care of yourselves, be good to each other, stay safe. Nilay, again, thank you so much.
Love to you guys out there in the virtual world tuning in today, and love to you, Sarah. And thank you so much for supporting SilverSilk and more.
You betcha. Love you, buddy. I'll see you next time. Bye.